Hello, my friend. Today, I want to tell you the story of a woman who became rich, but chose to give everything away. She was not born noble. She was not born powerful. But when thousands of people were dying, she made a decision that changed history. This is the story of Kim Man-deok. Kim Man-deok was born in 1739 on Jeju Island during the Joseon dynasty. Jeju was far from the capital. Life there was harsh and often difficult. Trade was limited. Food was not always stable. Man-deok lost her parents at a young age. As an orphan, she had little protection in society. Eventually, she was registered as a Gisaeng. A Gisaeng was a woman trained in music, poetry, and conversation, often serving officials. Although some were respected for their talent, their social status was low. One older woman once told her, "This is your fate. Accept it." But Man-deok did not answer. She did not believe her life was already decided. She was intelligent and observant. While serving guests, she listened carefully to conversations about trade, prices, and shipping routes. She noticed patterns. She learned quietly. One evening, she asked a visiting merchant, "Why do prices rise so quickly when ships are delayed?" The merchant laughed softly, "Because supply controls survival." Man-deok never forgot those words. Later in life, she managed to leave the Gisaeng registry. Historical records suggest she was officially removed from that status, possibly due to her conduct and connections. Once free, she did something unusual for a woman of her background. She entered the world of commerce. She began trading grain and daily goods. She bought when prices were low. She stored supplies carefully. She sold when the market needed stability. People were surprised. A man once told her, "Business is not for women." She replied calmly, "Hunger does not ask if you are a man or a woman." Her business grew. She became one of the wealthiest merchants on Jeju Island. But wealth was never her final goal. Then came disaster. In 1795, a severe famine struck Jeju. Crops failed. Storms damaged fields. Ships could not bring enough grain. Food became scarce. Families began starving. Mothers held weak children. Farmers stared at empty land. People sold their belongings for a bowl of rice. One neighbor came to her door and said, "Madam Kim, you have grain stored. Please help us." Man-deok looked at her warehouses. She knew the value of what she had. If she waited, she could sell at a very high price. A merchant friend visited her. He whispered, "This is the time to profit. Prices will triple." She looked at him and said, "Profit from what? From their hunger?" That night, she could not sleep. She remembered being an orphan. She remembered being told to accept her fate. The next morning, she made her decision. She opened her storage and began distributing grain. At first, she sold at a low price. Soon after, she gave it away. Her assistants were shocked. "Madam, this is your entire fortune." She answered, "What is fortune if everyone around you is dying?" She used her own wealth to purchase additional grain from the mainland. She arranged ships to transport food to Jeju. She organized distribution so that the weakest received help first. Thousands of people survived because of her action. The famine gradually ended. News of her generosity reached the royal court in Seoul. King Jongjo heard about her. He was deeply impressed. An official reported, "Your Majesty, a woman merchant on Jeju saved many lives using her own wealth." The king asked, "What does she request in return?" The official replied, "Nothing. King Jeongjo invited Kim Man-deok to the capital. For a woman of her background, this was extraordinary. When she stood before the king, she bowed respectfully. The king said, "You have done what even officials fail to do. What do you wish as a reward?" She did not ask for land. She did not ask for titles. She did not ask for gold. She said, "Your Majesty, I have one wish. I wish to visit Mount Gumgang." At that time, ordinary women were not allowed to travel freely, especially former Gisaeng. Her request was unusual. The king smiled and granted her wish. He also restored her social status and honored her publicly. She traveled to the mainland and visited Mount Gyeomgang. For someone who had lived within social limitations, this journey symbolized freedom. But more important than the journey was her example. She showed that wealth can be a tool. She showed that generosity can change history. She showed that background does not limit character. Kim Man-deok did not lead armies. She did not write royal laws. She did not invent scientific instruments. She fed people. In a time of crisis, she chose compassion over profit. So what can we learn from Kim Man-deok? Success is not measured by how much you keep. It is measured by how much you give. Power is not always in titles. Sometimes it is in choices. When others saw opportunity for gain, she saw responsibility. Thank you for listening. Remember this story when you face a choice between profit and principle. True greatness is revealed in crisis. Keep learning, keep choosing wisely, and I will see you in the next story.